This is a Rubik's Cube. For the longest time, I'd say the past 25, 26 years of my life, I never knew how to solve this thing. I would always see people trying to solve these and as fast as possible. You know, some people can solve it in a minute, 30 seconds. I think the world record is like 3.5 seconds or some ridiculous shit like that. And I would see this in people's houses, my friends' houses. I would see it in shops, just kind of sitting there waiting for it to get picked up and jumbled around. But for the longest time, I never knew how to solve it. And I always wanted to learn how to solve it. You know, it's not exactly gonna get me the maddest amount of pussy in the schoolyard, but, you know, it was something that just kind of genuinely interested me. Like, I've always enjoyed things like puzzles growing up, you know, things like jigsaw puzzles, quizzes, all that kind of stuff that kind of tests the brain. But there was something about this thing that made me really scared to even attempt to try to learn to figure it out. It's not until very recently that I've kind of started to figure out why this cube, to me, is a lot like life. Now look, I get it, sounds pretentious as fuck, because it is. But ever since I was little, I've always been really scared to try and figure out my life. I've always been the kind of person who's always just been with the flow, just kind of, oh, I'll figure it out when I get to that part of the ship and everything, and just, you know, it was always whatever to me, you know. I'll figure it out eventually. If I don't, then so be it. But it wasn't until I started learning how to solve this multicolored cube that I realized that, oh, maybe this is a lot like life. Maybe life is very much just a jumbled mess of colors. And it's not until you actually start picking it up and looking at it closely that you realize, oh, maybe it is something I can kind of work with and try and figure out the ins and outs of. Because if anyone here knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube, it's not so much a bit of magic, but rather just remembering a set of algorithms and finding different patterns and really taking it one step at a time and kind of familiarizing yourself with the environment. And I would say that that's a lot like life as well, where you kind of figure out your environment, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And then eventually, as you start to look at the bigger picture of things, things kind of start to appear in color. Everybody's always so scared about, oh, what are they gonna do when they grow up, and I don't know what I wanna be, and all this pressure of all these adults around me who supposedly have their lives together telling me, you know, it's gonna be too late at one point. You won't know what you want to do when you get there, and you don't want to end up homeless on the streets or with a dead-end job that you don't want to be in, so you best pick your career right now before it's too late. And look, man, like, I completely get what those people are saying, but also at the same time, it doesn't always have to be like that, you know? Sometimes it is really just a matter of taking it one step at a time, and you're not going to get it perfectly on the first go. I definitely do think it's important to kind of experiment with your movements. You know, sometimes there might be difficult things, you might remember, forget a lot of different things, and in that case, you just have to kind of sit back and look again at the grander picture. Because the more you start to move the pieces around in your head, and the more you start to experiment and make mistakes, the more you start to realize, oh, you know, this might have been the wrong way to do it. But maybe if I keep going, I might end up getting there. I'm kind of comfortable in this situation now. Maybe I should keep going. This feels right. This feels like the right thing to do. Especially when you start to, again, remember your past experiences. And you're probably wondering what this video is all about. Well, this video essentially is about a lot of people out there just not really knowing what they want to do with their life. You know, you might get a little bit lost in life, and I completely get it. I was there as well. And to that, I basically say, hey man, it's alright. You know, we all are trying to figure out our lives right now, and it's all about trying things out, and I guess just not being afraid to give things a go. I feel too many people kind of miss the opportunities by just really not giving it a go, and it's really just a shame, in all honesty, that, you know, like, why would you not just try and give it a go? You know, because eventually you might doubt yourself and you might think, this is something that I'll never be able to finish and complete. But then, when you realize it, it kind of was already completed in the first place. It's never too late to try something new. You'll never know how hard or easy it is until you actually give it a go. And if the end result that you end up in life or with the Rubik's Cube, whether that be how fast you manage to do it, how clean you manage to do it, just the end result in general, well, if you're not satisfied with it, you can just try it again.